Metal Music Meltdown, back with another video. We have it today, guys. Is the next installment of the series I've been doing lately, where it's my 10 of my favorite albums from a band, where it's their debut, and then 10 of my favorites of their second album, fourth, third album, etc. We're up to the fifth video in the series, guys. So these are 10 of my favorite fifth albums, in a band's discography. This was the first time doing this series where I found it a little bit more challenging finding albums that I really like. The first four, four videos, I found it pretty easy to find albums that were like 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10 albums from like classic albums, etc. But this is the first time I had to dig a little bit deeper and look up some different bands, and not quite as many came to my mind right away. So I think going forward, there's going to be more and more, I guess, less and less albums that I consider like perfect albums or like really iconic albums, and it's gonna be more albums on the list that I consider maybe great or good, but not like that iconic level, like really good. So we'll kind of see how it plays out as I go along. So jumping right in onto this video, guys, this is the fifth studio albums. The first I got here is School's Out by Alice Cooper. Iconic album, kind of cheating because it's more hard rock, but I kind of snuck it on the list. I tried to stick more to metal music. That's why I didn't really have like Led Zeppelin and stuff on my list and Rolling Stones. But I snuck in School's Out by Alice Cooper. Really cool album. Probably always been one of my favorites from him. Of course, it's got School's Out. It's got Blue Turk on here. What else we got here? Looney Tune. Like, it's got some good tunes on here. Always been like one of his iconic albums, and one that was deserving of the list for sure. Next we got the fifth studio album from American thrashers Megadeth, Countdown to Extinction. This is kind of the sweet spot in the catalog for Megadeth that I really enjoy. Normally I'm not a huge Megadeth fan, but this kind of spot where it's like Rust in Peace, Countdown, Euthanasia, those 3 or 4 albums in a row I really enjoy. And I wanted to include Countdown because later on in Megadeth's catalog, I'm not as big of a fan. But this has got some killer tracks on here. Symphony of Destruction, Skin of My Teeth, the title track, just some really good tunes. And in my opinion, one of their best. Next we got kind of another low-hanging fruit, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath from Black Sabbath. The first like 6 Black Sabbath albums are perfect. So this was an easy one to include. With tracks like the title track, National Acrobat, Fluff is really good for an instrumental, Cybercadabra. It's just some really good stuff on this album. Spiral Architect, like just some really good stuff. Next we got another kind of obvious pick, Seasons in the Abyss by Slayer. Again, another band we could easily pick any of their first like 5 or 6 albums. Would easily be deserving of the list. This one's got a bit of a different sound than their early material. It's more mid-range and not quite as intense as some of their earlier stuff. But War Ensemble has always been one of my favorite Slayer songs. That one's a ripper. It's got Spirit in the Black, Dead Skin Mask. The title track is incredible. Just a really good Slayer album, a little bit different than their other stuff, but I really enjoy it. And then I put on here Fate and Norns by Amarth. Again, for this band, this is kind of the sweet spot for me. They're like 4th, 5th, 6th album. Like that's the kind of albums I like from them the best. Their later albums are kind of becoming more kind of samey to me, but still really good stuff. But I really dig their older material, and I wanted to include an Amarth album. I don't think I've had one on one of the list yet, and I really dig the band, really good stuff. Next we got Children of Bodom with Are You Dead Yet? This has always been kind of my favorite album from the band, so I wanted to include it. Living Deadbeat, the title track is incredible. Beat Me, I Bleed, or Punch Me, I Bleed, In Your Face, Thrash, Lost, and Strung Out. Just some really good tunes on here. Kind of one of their more accessible albums, if you will, and more mainstream sounding, but I dig it. I love the riffs. I like their infusion of keyboards. They do it really well. I love Alexi's guitar playing and vocals. Rest in peace. Always been my favorite Children of Bodom album, and I love the band. I just wanted to include them. And next one we got here is kind of another low-hanging fruit, but I went with Iron Maiden Power Slave, an all-time classic album. Doesn't really need any explanation. With songs like Aces High, 2 Minutes to Midnight, and it's just it's just a banger. It had to be included. And then next we got Horoscope by Overkill. Always been one of my favorite Overkill albums. Top 5 for sure. And had to make my list. It's got some really good songs on here. Bobby Blitz's vocals are very unique, but at times they can be kind of daunting on you, but it is what it is. But I wanted to include it because it's always been one of my favorite Overkill albums. And the next one I got here is In Flames with Clayman. Had to include some In Flames on my list somewhere. I love this band. Even the newer stuff where people said they sold out, I still really like those albums. I'm not sure if it's because before getting into metal, I grew up listening to alternative music, and their newer stuff is kind of alternative metal. So maybe the sound to me doesn't really bother me like other people. I think it's really good. I think it's still heavy. Still got really good Metallica riffs, good vocals. I really dig their newer stuff, but I really wanted to include Clayman just because it's got some of my favorite songs. Bullet Ride, Pinball Map, Clayman, the title track. It just got some really good tunes on here. It's always been one of my favorite In Flames albums, and one I go back to quite a bit. And the last one, I say the best for last, Blackwater Park by Opeth, had to make my list, guys. My second favorite album of all time. It's just a perfect album. It's got Leper Affinity, Bleak, Harvest, Drapery Falls. The Blackwater Park is like a ridiculously good song, 12 minutes of pure perfection. If you want a band that takes you on a journey and just heavy and beautiful, and don't get me started on Opeth, I'll never shut up. But if you're not familiar with this album, please go check it out. It's a masterpiece. So those are my picks, guys, for the 5th albums. Let me know down below what some of your picks would be, maybe some bands I overlooked. I always like seeing what people put in the comments, because there's always those 1 or 2 albums I'm like, fuck, I forgot that album. And yeah, it is what it is, but I come up with what I can. So stay tuned, guys, for the 6th album's coming up soon, and keep it metal.